innocence was gone astray. Had to leave my home at an early age. I saw mama praying, I saw daddy grind. All my tender problems had to leave behind. It's been umpteen summers and I'm not in my bed, on the back of the bus in a bunk with the band. Going so hard, gotta choose myself. Underpaid and overwhelmed. I might cook clean but still won't fall. Still working all my life, you know. Only God knows, only God knows, only God knows.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
Good morning, I'm Ray Harris, and here's the latest from the Black Information Network. A New York man has been sentenced after he was accused of violently attacking an Asian woman in Times Square, New York. 41-year-old Brandon Elliott has been sentenced to 15 years in state prison after pleading guilty in the case. The Biden administration is canceling $1.2 billion in student loan debt for more than 150,000 borrowers. The president said student loan payments have become too burdensome for millions of Americans. Former talk show host Wendy Williams is in a facility to treat cognitive issues. Family members tell People that the 59-year-old is doing great and in a wellness environment. And that's the latest. I'm Ray Harris on your home for 24/7 News, the Black Information Network, and BINnews.com.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The Lakers and Clippers are on the road tonight to begin the second half of the season. The Lakers are at Golden State. They won't have LeBron tonight. He's going to miss the game because of his sore left ankle. Keep your eyes on this situation. LeBron's ankle injury could become a problem for the Lakers. He had a week off for the All-Star break, and he's still not healthy. At the moment, the Lakers are 2 games out from qualifying for the playoffs. Tip-off tonight is 7 on TNT. The Clippers are at Oklahoma City, 5 p.m. tip-off. They start the second half with the third-best record in the Western Conference. They're only 2 games behind number 1 Minnesota. The Clippers are in the top 5 in 4 major categories. Kawhi Leonard is 3rd in the NBA in three-point shooting and 4th in steals. Paul George is 5th in steals, and James Harden is 5th in assists. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. More news, opinions, and conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Dr. Nicordelai Corte with the KBLA Talk 1580 editorial. In a public opinion survey commissioned by KBLA Talk 1580 and conducted by Viteris, the black voters surveyed were highly enthusiastic about the March 2024 primary. The race for Los Angeles District Attorney is being hotly contested. Incumbent DA George Gascon's efforts to implement progressive criminal justice reforms have generated pushback from within his own office, the broader law enforcement community, and some in the general public. He was the subject of at least 2 failed attempts to qualify recalls. The concerns about crime are reflected in the polling results of black voters. Nearly 1 in 4 have been victims of violent crime or have someone close to them who has been a victim. 1 in 5 black voters have personally been victims of property crime in the last 2 years. A majority of respondents feel less safe than they did a year or 2 ago, but they reject the notion that criminal justice reform has gone too far. This year, black voters will be looking for candidates who speak to the complexity of the issues as opposed to a one-size-fits-all approach. Nearly half of black voters have an unfavorable view of DA Gascon, but his challengers are largely unknown. Nearly half of the black voters are also undecided, which means there's a clear opportunity for candidates to connect with black voters. Our poll makes 3 things abundantly clear. Black voters matter. Black voters are closely following this race, and the candidates for DA have a lot of work to do. KBLA Talk 1580 is committed to the mobilization and use of the franchise to empower our audience to identify and pursue their interests in advancing equity, inclusive representation, and multiracial solidarity. For KBLA Talk 1580, I'm Dr. Nicordelai Corte. We welcome your feedback.
First things first.
things first, it's the DU General, Money B. I'ma put you up on the schedule, 6 to 9, 8 weekdays, not 2 and 7. Let's go. We got a lot to talk about, so much to pedal through. Unapologetically progressive. Tune to KBLA 1580 to get the mess. We're your ancestors' favorite radio station. First black on talk radio, left side of the nation. Me and Dominique DiPrima go way back. Tap Smiley making sure the station stays black. Discussing all the issues in our community. We're hosted black and brown and others find unity. So let's talk about it. Maybe we can improve it. Digital underground, always down with the movement. So we tune in. The first things first with the queen of Black Talk Radio, Dominique DiPrima. Go sis. Go sis.
First things first.
KBLA Talk 1580. Good morning and God bless. I'm Dominique DiPrima. The show is called First Things First. My first thing today, my first thing tomorrow, my first thing yesterday, giving thanks, giving praises, asking for blessings from God, asking for the blessings of the ancestors and the elders, and starting the journey together. The journey today is Thursday. This is what we do. We usually do hour 1, local, hour 2, national, international, and beyond, hour 3, deep dive with a person or persons of interest, perhaps a hot topic. And today we are in full election mode. We got a little, it's like a week and a half until the final day to vote, right? So you can vote now if you know what you're voting for, if you're clear on what everything is and how you want to weigh in on it. But if you need a little bit more information, we have KBLA1580.com has Election Information Station Hub where you could listen to all these different podcasts. And today we are all about judges. Well, people that want to be judges. We got a lot of candidates for the LA County Superior Court bench. And you can listen to them live today. Many are coming into the studio. It is Judge-orama today. So that's really what we're doing. And, of course, we have time in between the beats, like right now, for you to call in if you want to weigh in on something or get inspired, some fellowship, some argument, some conversation. It's all here for you at 800-920-1580, 800-920-1580. Today we will be hearing from 5 different candidates who are looking to be judges in the LA County Superior Court system. I am also excited about tomorrow. Our Freedman Friday continues. And tomorrow we'll be hearing from attorney George Fothery, who, of course, played a pivotal role in the victory around Bruce's Beach. Looking forward to what he has to say about this progress here in California, the reparations package of bills, which has been quite a topic of conversation and some would say controversial. Also looking forward to how he sees the national landscape. And of course, always in the final hour of the Friday show. Well, not always. Sometimes I get a great guest that I can't resist. But most days in the final hour of our Friday, our Freedman Fridays, we do freestyle phones, unpack what we've heard, what we've learned, what we missed, what made us encouraged or what made us angry. So 800-920-1580, 800-920-1580 always is this weigh in, because this is meant to be a dialogue, not a monologue. Now, when the candidates for the bench are on the mic, we give them their time, because we want to make sure everyone has an equal opportunity to make their case. So looking forward to that conversation. And Monday, we are going to do call out for candidates again. We'll do that in the final hour of the show, where any candidate that wants to call in, and, it might be a race that we haven't covered in depth, right? Many of the races, we will talk about it, but we won't have the time on our agenda to have every single candidate in every single city that make up LA County for all of the offices. So they have an invitation to call in Monday, the 26th, between 8 and 9 and make their voices heard. We'll give you 3 minutes, and you can, talk about it. Whatever's going on with you, with your campaign, you can talk about it there. And that will be I believe that will be our final one prior to March 5th. So I suggest that if you are, in fact, running for office and you want a piece of this microphone, you call Monday, 800-920-1580, 800-920-1580. Alrighty. It's kind of chilly, but it's not raining today, and it's not calling for rain. So hopefully we'll have a little bit of time to dry out from what has been pretty insane. Some of the impacts, a little bit going on at my house, but nothing like what a lot of people are dealing with, mudslides and, caved in roofs and roads and the like. So, yeah, we got a lot to talk about. I just want to encourage you, though, to remember that it's election season. So that means that, we have to be paying attention. And I would also encourage us, and I know, maybe it's asking a lot, but I know the KBLA delegation is serious about our role as change makers, our role as, people that pay attention, right? It's like we carry water for folks in our community. And I feel like there are a lot of folks that do not realize that there is an election going on at all. And that is a problem. I talked to some people about the election and some of the issues we talk about on this show, and I realize I'm going to need to go back to laying out some of the basics because people don't track everything all the time. So, that's something that we, aside from making ourselves smarter, just talking with our family and friends and, hey, did you know that there's an election happening right now? Starting on the 24th of this month, which is in 2 days, the election centers will start to open. And when that happens, that means that if you did not register to vote, you can go and do same-day registration starting the 24th of this month. So in other words, if you're not registered to vote, it doesn't mean you have to be left out. It means that you can, in 2 days, you can start going to an early vote center. You can register at the vote center. And remember, you don't have to go to your precinct anymore. You can vote anywhere, any vote center now. You can go vote in Palos Verdes if it makes you happy. Wherever there's an open vote center, you can go to lavote.net or you can go to the Secretary of State's website, and you will find lists of those vote centers. Or you can just see one, and you're welcome to roll up at any time. You don't need an appointment. You can just go there. You can register to vote and vote on the same day, starting in 2 days. And of course, the election day is coming up in, like I said, in less than a week and a half. But remember, there are lots of resources. If you don't know about what you want to vote on which thing, you can skip things. You don't have to complete the full ballot, but I would love it if we didn't have to skip over things. And there are resources. You can go, I like Ballotpedia. Ballotpedia has information on many different, on all of the candidates actually and propositions. You can look it up. You can go to our KBLA1580.com, as I've said, and you can hear podcasts of interviews with different people running for judge, for many of the statewide and local offices, definitely district attorney. You can look at our election issue survey, which is focused on public safety. There's also the LA County Registrar Recorder if you want to check and make sure that your registration is up to date. You can go to lavote.gov. I was wrong. It's not .net. It used to be .net. Now it's lavote.gov. And you can go to find your election information, make sure that you're registered. But if you're not, no worries. Like I said, starting the 24th, you can walk up to any vote center. Now, I grant you, it's faster and smoother if you're already registered. You could just walk up, vote, and leave. Or you can bring your mail-in ballot and hand it to a poll worker and leave. Some people are wary of putting it in the mail. But if you do, you don't need a stamp. And if you want to put it in any of the drop boxes, those are secure. You don't need a stamp for that either, obviously. There's one right in front of the actual park, that's Lamert Park. Many of them are in front of libraries and schools. They've got that LA County logo, you know, the UCLA colors, the yellow and baby blue. And those are secure drop boxes. And you are able to just deposit your ballot there whenever you want to, 24/7, and they are picked up regularly. So that's a great option for you. In-person voting, like I said, it starts on the 24th, and you can vote from 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. in early voting, 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. at any vote center starting the 24th. And then, of course, on Election Day, the day is longer. You can vote at 7 o'clock in the morning all the way to 8 o'clock at night. So that should circumvent any work scheduling conflicts with getting your ballot in on Election Day, which is Tuesday, March 5th. You have from 7 a.m. That's when the polls open to 8 p.m. That's when they close. And there are more than 400 of those ballot drop boxes. I mean, one thing about California, our Golden State, we make it as easy as possible to vote. This is not a voter suppression state. And you think about counties like counties in Georgia where they have one drop box in the whole county because they want to make it harder for you to get your ballot in. Here in California, we're just the opposite of that, thanks to, you know, our Secretary of State, Shirley Weber, thanks to the prior Secretary of State, Alex Padilla, who really have done some great work on the same-day voter registration, expanding access to voting centers so anyone can go to any voting center, and a longer period of early voting. So now there's actually, aside from the mail-in ballots, which are very convenient, you can mail it back anytime you want, the actual in-person voting, you have like 11 days from February 24th to March 5th. Every single day you can vote in person, or you can bring in your ballot. And I want us to tell this to folks because people, you know, through no fault of their own at times, do not pay attention. We've got jobs, we've got kids, we've got 99 problems. But, you know, this is really important. And this is one of the small things we can do to make a difference. As change makers, as members of this KBLA delegation, we can take it upon ourselves to make sure that our friends, neighbors, elders, and family members are paying attention because, well, the next senator from the state of California is on the ballot. That's very important. The district attorney for the county of Los Angeles, super important. And I would argue Proposition 1 is also pretty important. And that's just a little sampling. You've also got city council races. You've got, statewide offices for assembly and state senate. A lot going on. So let's get ourselves fully focused and ready to go. And let's be part of the solution here in terms of getting like-minded, unlikely and likely voters focused on the fact that it's here. It's right now. It is time to get it together. And starting Saturday, you can vote in person. Perfect time to call me, 800-920-1580. I'm Dominique DiPrima, and we are unapologetically progressive, KBLA Talk 1580.
She's reclaiming her time on KBLA Talk 1580. More First Things First with Dominique DiPrima when we come forward.
At KBLA Talk 1580, we do Black history every single day. In fact, As the only Black talk radio station west of the Mississippi, we are Black History. Our annual Black History Month luncheon is fast approaching, and we want to be sure to give you ample time to get your company, organization, church, or group to join us at this year's celebration on the last day of the month, Thursday, February 29th at noon. Last year, we honored iconic local Black media personalities, including Pat Harvey, Jim Hill, Mark Brown, Beverly White, Sandy Banks, and Pat Prescott, and raised $20,000 in scholarships. This year, we're honoring Black Hollywood creatives who have used their artistic genius as climate justice champions. At this year's luncheon, we will be showcasing and sharing their inspiring work on our big screen. Plus, a scrumptious meal, live music, great company, and lots of fun with your favorite KBLA Talk 1580 hosts. So contact us today at info@smileyAudiomedia.com or call 323-290-4690. That's info@smileyAudiomedia.com or call 323-290-4690. We hope to see you Thursday, February 29th as we close out Black History Month. At KBLA Talk 1580, we've got your Black.
Some people just know the best places to eat around town. Those are the people who know to choose Allstate. They know exactly where to go to get exactly what you're wanting. They know where to find the spiciest hot pot, the gooeyest brownies, and the tenderest, most flavorful portobello steak. Those people also know that safe drivers save 40% with Allstate.
Saving 40% is based on the national average premium savings for Allstate auto customers with a clean driving record versus those without. Savings vary by state and vary based on how you buy, subject to terms, conditions, and availability. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
She's so smooth, so... I'm interrupting my own shower to remind you to treat your skin like the queen she is with Olay Hyaluronic Body Wash, packed with Olay's highest level of vitamin B3 complex. It's so moisturizing that it will give you visibly smoother, head-turning skin in just 14 days. People wondering, how'd she get so smooth? Olay Hyaluronic Body Wash. Also, try Olay Hyaluronic Body Lotion.
Your ancestors' favorite radio station, and your favorite morning show host. Let's get back to Dominique DiPrima right now.
Remember, there was last year, there were a number of women, young women, models, beautiful women in downtown LA that were murdered, coming up dead. In one of these cases, I guess, has been solved. A Minnesota man is under arrest for the murder of a young woman in downtown LA who was found inside her own refrigerator, beaten and tied up. Her name is Melissa, I think, Mooney. Melissa Mooney. They had found her back in September of 2023. The family hadn't heard from her. They reported her missing. They asked the LAPD to do a welfare check, and they did so, and they found her body. Now they have arrested a suspect. They haven't given us details of how they found this guy or what happened in the case. He's 41-year-old Magnus Daniel Humphrey, who was already on probation for federal narcotics charges, and they arrested him at home in Minnesota on an unrelated case, but he will be extradited to LA to face murder and torture charges stemming from the killing of this beautiful, young, promising black woman in downtown Los Angeles. And so many times when it comes to black women, when we go missing, it's not a priority. So I think that's starting to change because we are making it change, because people are becoming aware of that gap in concern and care, and because of social media, also people have a lot more agency in bringing their own voices to be heard in these kinds of cases. Really, it's just a terrible story, but try to track and update those things when we talk about them and make sure that we follow up as much as we can. a candidate for school board has apologized for his activity on social media. Khalid Alalim, he's running for LA School Board, and apparently he's been accused of liking some posts that are considered anti-Semitic and pornography. One was something posted by the Nation of Islam about the relationship between blacks and Jews that he liked. And then this is back in 2022. And then I guess another one was, or a couple of them, I guess, were porn stuff and gun-related, gun posts. He apologized. He said, "I apologize for my likes on social media of graphic content. It was inappropriate. I will never do that again." Then he went on to say, "I've spent my life fighting against anti-Semitism, anti-Arab hate, Islamophobia, and all forms of oppression." And, I don't know what to say about that. He's one of the people that wants to replace George McKenna retiring from District 1. This is one of the races we have been working to cover and have not gotten a response from a lot of the candidates there. I don't know, if how that impacts the race, but I would imagine if you want to be on the Board of Supervisors, I think it's a big, of course, all of those things are problematic, but liking stuff that glorifies guns is going to give pause to parents that are concerned about violence on campus, mass shootings, and the like. And then, of course, pornography is not what we're looking for from our school board leaders, nor is anti-Semitism. But this is, this is a candidate who is endorsed by the LA County Federation of Labor and the Teachers Union. So there's going to be more to this story. He says that there's a very long history of Jewish and black people backing each other and working in solidarity for justice, and says he wants to continue that important work. As a black man in the race, I'm not sure, that, especially with this coming so close to the election, I'm not sure that he will be able to bounce back, but maybe. And I would certainly welcome him on this show to tell whatever he wants to tell of his side of that story. I think it doesn't look good, though, and I hope that for all of us that are not running for office, for all of us that are doing whatever we do in our lives, it's a reminder that, social media is real. If you weigh in and give an opinion on social media, I know it seems like a pretend world, but it is actually connected to the real world. Remember all of those Harvard students who had their offers rescinded because of things they posted on social media? It happens again and again and again. It's like politicians, sending pictures and texts. You can't, and it's not just politicians. I mean, and I'm not saying it's okay that if you do certain things secretly, but what I am saying is we can't be dumb. I used to say this all the time on the front page. If you wouldn't do it, in the middle of La Brea, you probably shouldn't do it on social media. If you wouldn't show up butt naked, with your false eyelashes in the middle of La Brea, don't do it on social media. If you wouldn't go on a rant about guns, in front of your colleagues or family, don't do it on social media. It's not rocket science, but it reminds me of this, that who did I marry? I think it's Who TF Did I Marry? It's a social media phenomenon right now. It's a story of this woman who married a guy, and it's a lot of parts to it. It's like a 50-part series. I haven't had time to watch it yet, but everyone's fascinated by it. And she was talking about how this guy she married had lied to her and course, he's clapped back and said she's not telling the truth either now. But she was trying to keep his identity secret. She just wanted to tell her story about how she got caught up in a relationship based on lies. But the online sleuths found the guy. You know, it didn't take long, less than a week. And now his identity is outed. And that's just how it goes on the internet. I don't care if you think you slick and you're posting as, you know, Donald Trump or, you know, Daffy Duck. It's connected to an email. It's connected to a server, you know, that you're dropping hints that you don't know you're dropping. And you will be found. The doxing for good and doxing for evil is a real thing. Ask any one who's been through it. It's no fun. 800-920-1580. We are going to meet a candidate next who wants to be an LA County Superior Court judge, and we'll have a chance to hear why and what they have in store for us after news, traffic, and sports on KBLA Talk 1580.
More of First Things First with Dominique DiPrima when we come forward.
Good morning, I'm Ray Harris, and here's the latest from the Black Information Network. Southern California can expect more wet weather over the next week. The National Weather Service is predicting another storm to hit between Sunday and Monday night. This one is not expected to be as significant as past storms. There's a 20% chance that the region could get 1 to 3 inches of rain. Meanwhile, rain is starting to taper off in some parts of the region today. Disturbances and fights have been on the rise on flights since the COVID pandemic. Now, Illinois authorities are investigating an attack and fire on a Greyhound passenger bus. One person is in custody after allegedly starting a fire and stabbing another passenger on a bus in Franklin County, Illinois. And that's the latest. I'm Ray Harris on your home for 24/7 News, the Black Information Network, and BINnews.com.
Wendy's Breakfast 2 for $3 Biggie Bundles lets you choose your perfect duo from your fave 4, like a sausage or egg and cheese biscuit, small seasoned potatoes, or medium hot coffee. Limited time only during breakfast hours. U.S. price and participation may vary. Not valid in the combo. Single item at regular price.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The Lakers and Clippers are on the road tonight to begin the second half of the season. The Lakers are at Golden State. They won't have LeBron tonight. He's going to miss the game because of his sore left ankle. Keep your eyes on this situation. LeBron's ankle injury could become a problem for the Lakers. He had a week off for the All-Star break, and he's still not healthy. At the moment, the Lakers are 2 games out from qualifying for the playoffs. Tip-off tonight is 7 on TNT. The Clippers are at Oklahoma City, 5 p.m. tip-off. They start the second half with the 3rd best record in the Western Conference. They're only 2 games behind number 1 Minnesota. The Clippers are in the top 5 in 4 major categories. Kawhi Leonard is 3rd in the NBA in three-point shooting and 4th in steals. Paul George is 5th in steals, and James Harden is 5th in assists. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. More news, opinions, and conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
Do you support public education? More than 38,000 educators at United Teachers Los Angeles do too. Together, we have fought for a better public education for our students and communities, and having you on our side has been essential in our fight for better public schools. Together, we will continue to work for public schools with green spaces, more mental health staff, smaller class sizes at every grade level, and a higher investment in the Black Student Achievement Plan. We are UTLA, and you make us stronger.
It's time to represent your community in the 2024 presidential primary election. When you vote, you get to decide what is best for you, your neighborhood, and your family. Use your power. Make a plan to vote today. Visit plan.lavote.gov. That's plan.lavote.gov to get everything you need to vote in the March 5th presidential primary election. Brought to you by the Los Angeles County Registrar.
Are you ready to ignite your potential? Special Needs Network presents the CORE Workforce Development Grant, an opportunity designed just for you. You've been there for everyone else. Now it's time to be there for yourself. Whether you're a college student or a working professional, The CORE program is here to empower you on your journey. Get paid with free specialized diversity training, mentorship, and stipend to fuel your passion, power, and purpose in the behavioral health sciences. It's time to focus on your dreams while making a difference in your community. Don't wait. Visit snnla.org/core program to apply today. Be the spark that ignites connections. Your future is waiting. Again, that's snnla.org/core program.
Thanks for waking up with Dominique DiPrima on KBLA Talk 1580.
I do appreciate you, and we have a candidate in the studio. And if you want to go to youtube.com, KBLA 1580, you can certainly see and hear the interview. He's a son of refugees, a lieutenant colonel in the Army, Judge Advocate General Corps, JAG, a deputy district attorney, and a candidate for LA County Superior Court, seat number 135. Steven Mac, good morning.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thanks for coming in. We like to see folks in person. You have done a lot of things. You even, it's a really interesting story. You were deployed in the Army to the war in Afghanistan, and continued working there in a legal capacity.
Yes, I was deployed to Afghanistan in 2012. I was a JAG officer and a legal advisor for a logistics unit that covered the entire country of Afghanistan. So when water, food, equipment came into the borders, our unit managed getting those supplies to our forces, NATO, our allies, and people in the country. Part of that is congressional appropriations. So Congress's only way to control the military is through the Appropriations Act, which you know about every year. We're trying to, as a country, figure out what type of money we're spending for our services. And part of that is what rules govern our military operations. And as a legal advisor for that, our military sometimes wants to do things that exceed or are below what Congress wants us to do. And my job was to make sure that we followed those appropriations as we conducted our operations in the country.
Interesting. You're also a deputy district attorney, a prosecutor, which many judges that sit on the bench now are. In fact, the majority are. But you've worked as something like a military defense attorney as well?
Yes, I'm not a career prosecutor, so I worked in what's called fiscal law in the military. It was one of my specialties. But my very first job in the military was called Trial Defense Service, which is essentially the public defender's office for the Army. During that time, when I graduated from law school and became a JAG officer, a lot of soldiers were returning from Iraq and Afghanistan. And some of the soldiers were accused of misconduct. A lot of times it involved drugs or some misconduct that's kind of related to PTSD and not doing things that the government, the command, said they were not doing. Soldiers get a right to an attorney, and I was one of those attorneys. So I would defend soldiers in front of boards of officers and explain why. If they didn't do it, then they're innocent and they shouldn't face any punishment. But if there were some defense that the government should be more lenient on the soldier and recognize that their service to our country is important. That's what I advocated for. So I did that for 3 years, and it's one of the most important parts of my career. That's where I learned to be a lawyer. The motto for TDS was defending those that defend us, defend our country. So, it was very important for me, and that's where I met many of the judges that encouraged me to become a judge. So that's where I served with Judge Joe Lofton. He was a defense attorney in the unit, and he was a public defender in training, and that's where we became friends. And when I was thinking about becoming a judge, he was one of the first people I spoke to about the process and whether it was a good decision, and he was one of my first supporters.
So, you've got a lot of kind of, intense personal experiences in your life coming here as a son of refugees, a so-called boat people, serving in the U.S. military and in various jobs, and also serving as a prosecutor. But talk to me, how do you think that your experience as a son of refugees would inform your work on the bench?
Yeah, I have a deep respect for our community. As refugees, you're really you're countryless. You're looking for a community to welcome you, because where your home was, where you thought was home, was not peaceful or was attacking you. This part of LA was where I grew up. My dad's first job was 2 or 3 blocks from here on Crenshaw by the bowling alley that was there. We lived off of Western and Martin Luther King. He walked to work. I remember going to the bowling alley and hearing the bowling pins as a kid, waiting for him. I mean, this community is the one that welcomed us, and it was important for me to serve this community, because that's one of the reasons why we were able to build a new life. That motivated me to join the military. The person that sponsored my parents to the States served in the military, and that was one of the core reasons why I signed up to serve in the Army when I attended college.
UCLA.
I went to Berkeley for undergrad, so I went there on an Army scholarship, and then became an intelligence officer afterwards, and then. It was a windy road as our lives are, and then eventually went to UCLA back home for law school. But that commitment to service is something that is very important to me, and I hope I've displayed that in my time as a lawyer, as a defense attorney, as a prosecutor, as an advisor, and just as a person. I hope that shows through.
And what do you think? Describe yourself, should you become a judge. What's your judicial temperament? What's your philosophy, if you would? I know judges are nonpartisan, so give us a flavor of what you would be like.
Yeah, I mean, I hope my personality is showing today. I'm a very patient person. Sometimes my criticisms of me is that I don't give a reaction in time, and that's often because I'm listening and I'm processing what's going on, so that I could give I could first understand what's going on, and then give the appropriate reaction to legal arguments and facts, because a lot of things we deal with are very contentious, and especially in the military and in stressful situations, you're in rooms where everyone's intentions are good in terms of doing what's best for our unit, the safety of our soldiers, the mission, what we think is good for the country that we're serving. But oftentimes those ideas don't always match up, and it's very important to hear where people are coming from, understand the arguments before we come to a conclusion about it.
What do you think of, or what do you think you would like to change, or what do you think you could improve? I guess, what are your ideas, really? Because, LA County is in flux, and our justice system is very much in flux.
Yes, I think, in any institution, there should be improvements. That's what we do as people. We very seldom in any of our or the things that I've been part of where I see something, I'm like, well, nothing needs to change and everything is great and everything's perfect. That's not the case. When I've taken command of units, the first thing I do is look around and see what improvements need to be made, and then think of ways to improve it. As a judge, you don't have the power to make policy or make law, but you do have power to run your courtroom. And there are certain things in our courtroom, both in civil court, criminal court, family court, that needs more resources. We need to be able to have expand access to our community to help resolve disputes, because that's the main thing for the judicial system, is that when there are disputes in the community and society that cannot be solved in any other way, it comes into the court system, and access to that service is very important. Our facilities need improvement, and because our community is growing, our types of disputes are more complex. The ways we address and think about people is changing and improving. We need to have facilities and people to be able to expand those services and think of tools that can be used to help resolve disputes.
How do you feel about what's happening, in terms of this movement towards restorative justice? It feels like we're in a moment where we can go. We're at a crossroads. We could go two separate ways. We could go kind of back to our more classic, I don't know if I want to call it classic, what we've done, what we've been doing in this country, or we can kind of move toward a more restorative justice model.
Yeah. When I worked in trial defense services, one of the important goals that we have was what we called it recovery. It's the same thing as kind of rehabilitation. I think in the military and in our society, we can't have a system where there's no room to make a mistake or make a poor judgment. There was a time in the military where we called it a zero defect, and that means that you can't do anything wrong ever, and you can't build a society on that, because that's not how people are. It really restricts us, a unit, and how we function when there's no mercy and leniency. Part of leadership and part of growing a society and part of expanding our abilities to welcome people into our community, have people build lives, change themselves, and improve their families, and improve the people around them, is to have mercy and leniency. And I think that's an important part of justice.
Looking at your endorsements on your website, which is StevenMacForJudge.com, F-O-R, Steven Mac, StevenMac, no K on it, StevenMacForJudge.com, and there are quite a wide variety here. I mean, you do have the LA Times, you've got the LA Federation of Labor, and then you have ALADS, which is the Deputy Sheriffs of Los Angeles. And then you have Democrats for the Protection of Animals, which I didn't even know was a thing, and the Association of Deputy District Attorneys, LGBTQ plus Prosecutors Association, Metropolitan News. Talk to me about that range that you got going there.
Yeah, I've been endorsed by many groups that represent our community, and I'm proud of that. I present myself to the groups with who I am, who I'm presenting to you today, which is someone that grew up in the community, know the issues, have a fair mind, understand what it takes to make a stronger Los Angeles. I see Los Angeles as a gem of the world after having seen some of the issues around the world. I'm not saying that we don't have problems. We do have problems, and the way that we solve and address our problems should be how the world tries to solve and address our problems. That is something why I view my opportunity to come here as important, or my life growing up in this community is important, and I think the endorsements show that. And the one that hasn't been listed there was on a Super Bowl Sunday. I didn't watch the beginning of the game because I was interviewing with Congresswoman Maxine Waters, and I talked to her about myself and my service. And it was very insightful because she was talking about some of the work that she was doing for veterans, and there were actually some issues. I mean, I think about that issue a lot, and there's some issues that she brought up. I was like, wow, I should have thought about that. That was the issue that needs to be resolved. But I learned this week that she extended her endorsement to me, and I'm very proud of that.
All right. Well, Steven Mac, it's a pleasure to meet you. Thank you so much for coming in. Tell us once again how to reach out if people want to find out more.
Yes, the best way would be my website, StevenMacForJudge.com. I'm office number 135 on your ballot. I've hope that my commitment to service is something that you see as appropriate for the bench, and I hope I earned some votes today.
All right, Steven Mac, it's a pleasure to meet you.
Thank you so much.
It's a perfect time to call me, 800-920-1580. You're listening to KBLA Talk 1580.
Say the quiet part out loud. KBLA Talk 1580.
City of Los Angeles tenants know these facts about eviction and consumer debt. Tenants can't be evicted if rental arrears are eligible to be treated as consumer debt. Tenants who followed certain COVID-19 pandemic protections under state law can't be evicted for past due rent. Landlords can collect rental arrears in court as consumer debt, but tenants cannot be evicted if they provided a declaration of COVID-19 hardship and paid 25% of rent owed. Learn more at housing.lacity.org. Be informed, be protected, be at home.
LADWP is proud to partner with KBLA to share with you how to start the new year without bill worries. We're here to help if you're behind on your bill or need help staying current. Sign up anytime online for Level Pay to set predictable monthly payments throughout the year, including for past due amounts. You can also check out the special extended pay arrangements of up to 48 months to help pay down your bill. If you're a senior or income qualified, you may be eligible for Easy Save to receive discounts and also qualify for free and discounted energy and water saving devices. You can get up to $15,000 for past due water and or sewer bills and up to $3,000 for electric bills. But you gotta act fast. Funding is limited. You can reduce your past due bills and kick off the year right, because here at LADWP, we're here to help. Visit ladwp.com/cares today and find out more.
JP Morgan Chase is building on the investments in California to help close the racial wealth gap and build a more equitable future. Visit jpmorganchase.com/racial equity and get the tools to help reach your financial goals.
Hey Californians, are you ready to make your home ownership dreams come true? The California Dream for All Shared Appreciation Loan Program might be for you. First-generation homebuyers can get down payment and closing cost assistance along with a first mortgage to help you unlock the door of your new home. Applications open in April, so talk to an approved lender to see if you're eligible. Find out more at calhfa.ca.gov/dream or call 877-922-5432. A message from the California Housing Finance Agency.
What's up, LA? This is John McKinney, your next district attorney. Voting is underway, and public safety is the top issue on the ballot. As a deputy district attorney for over 25 years, I know Los Angeles, and I know how to keep this community safe. And as an African American who lives and works in this community, I know the unique challenges we face. My promise to you is to ensure accountability, protect victims' rights, and give the underserved a voice. I'm John McKinney, and I ask for your vote for LA County District Attorney.
The conversation continues right now with Dominique DiPrima on First Things First.
Right now, we have more candidates for LA County Municipal Court Judge coming up this show, and we're going to be staggering them with conversation, so you are welcome to call in anytime, especially right now, 800-920-1580, 800-920-1580. You know, Proposition 1 is, it's one where, and I feel this is one of the only reasons that I haven't actually already voted and turned my ballot in. I have my ballot, and I have most of the things. I know what I'm voting on, almost everything. But Proposition 1, I keep changing my mind. I was a solid yes, and then I keep hearing these arguments against it. They're coming from progressives. This is Governor Newsom's proposition that's meant to change the way mental health is administered in the state in terms of funding and in terms of what that funding is used for. It's a follow-up to something that we, the voters, did back in 2004, seems like 100 years ago, which was called the Mental Health Services Act. It was a ballot proposition, and it created a 1% income tax on millionaires to fund the public mental health system. And Governor Gavin Newsom is saying it's time to upgrade and modernize this system. And it seems like Proposition 1 is meant to do that, but it's feeling more and more like a mixed bag. On the one hand, with our crisis, our unhoused persons crisis, with the emergency of people with severe mental health not receiving any kind of services, it does seem like we need to do something. But some of the agencies, some of the nonprofits that work around mental health are warning that this solution creates a lot of unintended consequences. And after what we've seen in this state with unintended consequences, I'm thinking particularly around like contract workers and some of these bills that, bills that are put forth by lawmakers, but most especially propositions that we, the voters, agree to, and then we get confused and vote on them and then end up doing just the opposite of what we were trying to do. I feel like I'm going to have to do a deeper dive on this proposition, and I better hurry up because in-person voting starts on Saturday. So, like I said, I statewide Prop 1, I was yes, and now I'm leaning towards the maybe to no side, because whenever we do things that create strict percentages of how money is going to be allocated, it gives less flexibility to lawmakers, and sometimes it puts us in positions where we can't fund the things that we need in emergencies. I'll continue the conversation, and you're welcome in. It's KBLA Talk 1580.
She's reclaiming her time on KBLA Talk 1580. More First Things First with Dominique DiPrima when we come forward.
If your Medi-Cal is ending, Cover California is here to help. Cover California is a service from the state that helps you get affordable health insurance. In many cases, at no cost to you, just like with Medi-Cal. We have quality health plans, and we'll help you every step of the way to get the one that works for you and your family. So, if you're no longer eligible for Medi-Cal, check out Cover California. We'll keep you covered. Learn more at coveredca.com.
We've got a lot to talk about.
Hi, I'm Zoe Williams, a.k.a. the Voice of Reason, encouraging you to join me weekdays from 7 to 9 p.m. for the world's most intriguing relationship radio roundtable. Every night, I facilitate and encourage our loyal listeners to participate in the most engaging relationship discussions you'll hear anywhere. So make it a point to rendezvous with me, Zoe Williams, the Voice of Reason, Monday through Friday, 7 to 9 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Trust me, your relationships will never be the same. The VOR is on fire tonight.
Unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got your black. The conversation continues right now with Dominique DiPrima on First Things First.
All right, so I was talking about Proposition 1. It's a huge, and important statewide ballot initiative, which means it's going to be on your ballot if you're in California at all. And one of the things that what I was saying is that it gives less flexibility in an effort to force us to focus more on housing and unhoused persons. It would require counties to spend 60% of the money that they get from this millionaire's tax that I was talking about before on housing and programs for unhoused people who have serious mental health or substance abuse problems. It's, and of course, London Breed of San Francisco is supporting it. I believe Karen Bass of Los Angeles is supporting it. But it gives you less flexibility. So let's say, for example, we reel in our unhoused persons and mental health problem. Now you're still committed to spending that 60%, and you can't use it for other things. And one of the things I was reading is that in smaller counties, this can be a big problem for them. The example they give in the Associated Press is like Butte County, which only has 1,300 unhoused people in the whole county, right? It's a little out in the country, right? Well, for them to spend 60% of their funding, mental health funding, on unhoused and acutely mentally ill persons doesn't make sense. I guess they have different problems. They have a high suicide rate. They have high child trauma rate. So they want to spend more of their money on that. And it would mean shutting down programs like the African American Family and Cultural Center and things like that that are funded through these dollars because they help with community mental health. So, and it's funny because I'm trying to remember one of the candidates that I was interviewing. It'll come to me, that was against this, and that conversation is what made me start looking at this again, because we do need solutions, but solutions that bring unintended problems, maybe we need to go back and try it again. Maybe we need to tweak this. We have the care courts, and I think this is a companion for that, but is it the right companion? News, traffic, and sports, then more on KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
Good morning, I'm Ray Harris, and here's the latest from the Black Information Network. Southern California.